Hello everybody, this is RRPG here, and if you take a look at the name of this video and wanting to know why it has been taking so long for me to get episode 7 of my Final Fantasy Retrospective up on YouTube, then you came to the right place. I do have my reasons as to why the episode is taking so long, so just bear with me when you hear me out. It's been about half a year since the last episode was posted, but just so you guys know, the Retrospective series is not dead, not by a long shot. Anyway, enough reassurance and more on me explaining why it's taking so long, shall we? Now, there are 5 points as to Episode 7's long delay, and I'll talk about them in individual sectors. It was originally 4, but now the number of reasons has gone up by 1, so bear with me, alright? But anyway, the first and foremost reason as to why Episode 7 of my Final Fantasy Retrospective is taking so long is a simple one, and probably the most of my time-consuming activities. Long story short, I got a puppy back in August of last year. Here's a picture of him if you want to know what he looks like. Anyway, I got this puppy right around the time when I was nearing the end of post-production on Episode 6 that covered both Final Fantasy 8 and 9. And taking care of this guy has been a constant test of patience, endurance, and dedication. It's been quite an undertaking for my family as well, as puppies require so much love and attention to make them feel like they are a part of a family, and for him it has been a constant battle on his part too. The reason for this undertaking was because he is an orphan puppy whose mother was malnourished when he was born, so the mother taking care of him and his siblings was not a possible task. So he doesn't really feel that much love and care from his mother and his siblings when those things transition from his kind to a human being, as he can still act pretty rabid and less cuddly when growing up. I've been going through blood, sweat, tears, scars, and bites when it came to my dog, as my family and I have done so many things to set him on the right track to give him the love and attention he so deserves, and it has been paying off for the most part. He still bites pretty hard because of so much energy he has as a newborn who isn't even a year old yet, and he's already over 70 pounds in weight! Man, I seriously have a Shetland pony on my hands, and it's driving me insane! However, if there is one thing I never set aside when taking care of my dog, is a loving heart. I love my dog with all my heart, and I look forward to him growing up alongside me and being taken care of in the long term. Second off, the next reason why Episode 7 is taking so long was because I ended up creating new scripts for future episodes of the Final Fantasy Retrospective. New scripts? You didn't have them all done in the first place? I'm sure a lot of you are going to say. To answer your question on that, yes. When I was working on the initial scripts that covered Episode 1 to this upcoming episode, I did not have any more scripts created after that, so I needed to find a place where I could get some more work done. If I didn't, then I was going to suffer a long and enduring process to get at least 3 or 4 more episode scripts done. So I had to take that initiative to do that after I completed the most recent episode, which is Episode 6, and so far the episodes that I have covered after 7 in terms of getting scripts done are 8, 9, and 10. To save you all the time and trouble, I might as well go ahead and explain what those next 3 episodes cover so that you can get a good idea where I will be going with them when working on those in order. After Episode 7 that covers both Final Fantasy X and X-2, Episode 8 covers Final Fantasy XI Online and all of its expansions. The video won't be as long as the most recent ones that have varied between 90 minutes to a couple of hours like Episode 5, 6, and even 7 is going to be, as it'll be more like the length of both Episode 2 and 3, but Episode 9 and 10 will go back to being around that normal frame of long episodes after Episode 8. Episode 9 covers Final Fantasy XII and all related material that covers the world of Ivalice, the tactics games, Vagrant Story, and even the games that are a part of the Ivalice Alliance. I will say that Episode 9 is probably going to be the most time-consuming, just like Final Fantasy VII and its related material, and working on that much later is a good thing, because Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, is releasing this July, where I can play through that whole game and get a good idea, since I didn't really delve deeply into Final Fantasy XII when it first released back about over a decade ago. I bet there are those who share that same feeling, while there are those who actually managed to get through it just fine, like any other Final Fantasy game. Either way, I'll be able to know more about the game, get a better idea on what all I need to do, and get the ball rolling with making a flexible schedule when working on that content. Episode 10 is a no-brainer, as that will cover the Final Fantasy XIII trilogy and a brief discussion on Final Fantasy Type 0. I was debating on whether or not to get that included in Episode 10 since Final Fantasy Agito 13 rebranded itself into its own Final Fantasy game, but elements of the Fabula Nova Crystallis mythology still remain in that game, where it made me include it for Episode 10. That episode's production is expected to be just as long as Episode 9, so it'll probably be sometime next year when I finally get around to working on that. Anyway, those are the previews on what to expect in those episodes. But just so you know, after completing every one of those episodes, we'll see me return to making a new script for newer episodes after that. So after episode 7 is released, I'll work on the script for episode 11, which covers Final Fantasy XIV on both its original release and A Realm Reborn, along with its expansions. Third point. The other reason why episode 7 is taking so long was because I was getting around with wanting to play Final Fantasy XV and World of Final Fantasy when they both came out around the fourth quarter of last year, mostly Final Fantasy XV. World of Final Fantasy is one I have not put in enough time and effort to actually go through it in multiple settings, but I do intend to get back to it until I complete episode 7. That and some others like Nier Automata and Tales of Berseria, to name those two. Anyway, I have played through Final Fantasy XV and got all the trophies in that game, and I gotta say that I really like the game for what it is, as it is a breath of fresh air like no other entry in the franchise. I know there are those who do not enjoy the action-oriented approach of that game, but I personally thought it was a welcomed experiment that managed to do justice in the gameplay aspect. Don't get me wrong, there are issues in the gameplay, but the overall experience is one I definitely enjoyed since Final Fantasy X, as that was the last game I really got into. Ever since then, the series was in a downward slope with losing its appeal to many people, but I honestly think that Final Fantasy XV has put the franchise back on the right track. I will agree with everyone that the story is not the best. So many plot holes, many things ended up getting changed because Square did not want to offend SJWs, and so many other things happened where the overall story in the game alone is very lacking. It has a great ending, and I definitely thought that Arden Izunia was an excellent antagonist, as he reminded me of how great an antagonist that Kefka was in Final Fantasy VI. After playing through the whole game, it is going to make me put in some more replay in the main story through New Game Plus, and even the episodic DLC on Gladio, Prompto, and Ignis when they all release. Square, I give you major props, as I definitely see the franchise having a brighter future ahead of it, and I just hope that Tetsuya Nomura has learned so much about Final Fantasy XV's problematic development that it won't be that long of a wait for us to get the first part of Final Fantasy VII Remake in our hands. Fourth point. The next reason why Episode 7 is taking so long is because I underestimated how big in scope and how ambitious of a game that Final Fantasy X is. When I first started this retrospective series, I had this commitment to at least have every original title in the series mainline beaten at 100% completion. Things like sequels to those original installments are not ones that I worry about when it comes to completing them at 100%, but the mainline ones, I do. However, Final Fantasy X took me about 120 hours to finish with getting all the trophies, defeating the super bosses, grinding my characters to complete their sphere grids, capturing all the monsters for the monster arena to fight all those creations, etc., that I did not expect it would take me this long to complete that game itself. Final Fantasy X-2 was more of a relief since it didn't take me that long to actually get to a point where I wanted to beat it and be fine with my end result. As of now, all the footage for Final Fantasy X and X-2 is captured, and the voice clips are all completed, so it's just a matter of time before I have that episode completed and up on YouTube. When I will get it up is highly unknown, but I'll let you all know on here and on my Facebook fan page about when Episode 7 is close to completion. In the meantime, just bear with me, and it'll be worth the wait, as I always think every episode will be. Trying to figure out how to make even newer episodes more superior in delivery than the others is not an easy feat, but I make sure that every episode will be done as I see fit. Just expect episodes to be much longer to complete, since newer games on newer hardware will mean that they'll be more and more bigger and ambitious than the last one. I just hope when I get to episode 9 that covers everything with Ivalice, and episode 10 that covers the entire Lightning Saga, that it will be smooth sailing from here on out. I'm keeping my fingers crossed when those times arrive. Fifth and final point, and this is one that is the most recent of my troubles when it comes to me getting episode 7 completed. Just so you guys know, in February 2013, I got me a gateway computer, and I've been wanting to upgrade it with newer pieces of hardware ever since. I went through 2 graphics cards, with my most recent one being an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 Founders Edition, so I can run games with stronger graphical capabilities than what I originally had, as the first one I had was a GTX 960 with 2GB of GPU. Now with my most recent graphics card, I have 8GB of GPU and can run games with more powerful graphics at more relative ease, as games like the new Doom can run much better on my rig than before. Of course, I upgraded my RAM so that I can have my computer, software, and games run more fluently than ever. I upgraded to a power supply at 650 watts so that it can run my graphics card, and I got me a new internal hard drive for more storage space. My most recent activity with upgrading my computer came to light when I ordered a new processor, as I wanted my computer to run some of my games a bit better than usual. However, when I got that new processor, that is when my time with being at my computer was placed on hold. Long story short, I put in the new processor, and my motherboard got fried. I could not figure out what was wrong with it, and I had a guy look at it so he could see what the problem was. I ended up getting a new motherboard, had it installed, and now my computer is back up and working once more. This really frustrated me why I had to wait this long, because for those of you who watched my unboxing of the Collector's Edition for Horizon Zero Dawn, I had an unboxing planned for both The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Special Edition on the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch console itself. Unfortunately, with my computer woes coming into effect, there was no way for me to do any of that, as the technical difficulties prevented me from doing such a thing. In the end, things just did not pan out and go the way how I wanted things to go. And that is a real shame, as I was really looking forward to doing those 2 videos for all of you. I already unboxed the Nintendo Switch, the games I got for it, and played with the new console for nearly a week since it's been out, and I have been enjoying it for what it is by far. I haven't run into any issues like some of the people online have been having with their Switch units, so I may be amongst many who are very lucky to have a fully functional console at launch. I plan on doing some videos and content that are related to the Nintendo Switch and its games in the future, but I don't have anything concrete planned at this time. I'll update you on that when I have further details. As for my computer, it is doing just fine, and I hope the new processor allowed me so better opportunity with my software for capturing footage on my PC games going forward. When I have done some tests and see that it's working properly, then I'll let you know on that. Other than that, that is all I have to update on. I want to apologize to those who have been waiting for quite a while for me to get episode 7 up and running, but I guarantee you that the wait will be worth it when I have the episode finally up and running. Just be sure to keep up to date on both my YouTube channel and my Facebook fan page if any new updates arrive. But in the meantime, I want to say thank you for your patience, as doing this retrospective series is no simple task for one guy. That one guy is me, if you haven't figured that out, but I'm pretty sure you already have. But anyway, if you are new to my channel, then be sure to rate this video as well as leaving your feedback down in the comments. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button underneath this video, as more support from you guys will mean that more content is coming from me in the future that you won't find anywhere else. Until next time, this is Double RPG signing off by saying Godspeed and game on, gamers. Have a good one.